In this video, we're going to look at blocks in Ruby. So I have a file here called 0907, should be in your working files. I've included a couple of lines that have blocks in them, specifically this line and this line. Now we'll get to this line down here. These extra little lines in here just to declare some stuff to use for these blocks. So what is a block? Well, specifically it is this structure right here, where you send in a bit of code into essentially an iterator, and every time that iterator goes around or iterates, that's why it's called an iterator, every time it does that, it executes this bit of code. Now for a contrived example, I'm going to launch IRB and actually just define something out here. And I'm going to use this keyword yield. Let's spell it right. And I'm just going to pass this a block. So we're going to say test y, or testy, that's funny. And then we're going to pass it this block. And all the block is going to do is print out hello. And we'll see. Essentially what we did was we called this a method. We gave it the block. And every time the method called yield, it executed the block. So that's essentially what's going on inside these iterators. If they're able to accept the block, and most iterators in Ruby can, then they'll go ahead and execute this code. Now, the thing that's interesting is that this is a two-way interchange here. So if I go up here and redefine this, and we put yield, put a 3, and 2, and 1, and then end it. And then we call our thing again. And instead of that, I'm going to put an X in here. And let's put in... So now what we got was, it did our little definition and yielded on every one of these, but we sent the 3 back out to our block for our block to do something with it, and our block put it in X, and then after that we can do something with X. Now we've used other types of blocks that started with do and end, and it's the same structure where you have a do and then this pipe, variable pipe structure, and then you have some code and then end, and that's just a multi-line structure, and the only difference is actually some precedence, but other than that they're the same structure. Now here's a couple of examples in this file that I did. Was the first one just iterates 5 times, and it'll print out as it iterates here, and you'll see how var gets set to whatever that value is. The second one takes an array. We declare this array D, just being the array containing the elements 5, 6, 7, and 8. I print it out so you can see what it is, and then we do this collect enumerator, which essentially takes our collection and does whatever this block says, which is add 10 to everything in it. So E, which we print out here, will end up being 15, 16, 17, and 18, because we just add 10 to everything in it. Finally, I have a little bit more of a complex example here. This is out of the Pragmatic Programmer's Programming Ruby book, and it's a Fibonacci sequence method, and without getting too detailed in the math, all it does is essentially take the 2 previous values, add them up, and kick that out, and then take that value as the next value going in. And we do that by using that yield. So the way I'm going to call it in here is essentially, let's get back up here. I think I gotta scroll up here. I forget the exact one I need. It's right here. Alright, that's what I wanted. So let's load that file up. So it went ahead and did those first couple of ones. So there's that first one, prints out 0 through 4, because that's 5 times. Then we get D printed out, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we get 15, 16, 17, 18 for our E collect here. And then finally this gets defined. Now, if I call fib up 2, so we're going to give it a number that we want to count up to in the Fibonacci series. Let's go, let's make it a big number, 20,000. Oops, I needed to put that block in there. You see, it's looking for that block because I have a yield in here, and it needs that block. So let's go ahead and paste the block in there. And all the block does, it's simple. It just prints out whatever the variable is f that's get yielded here, which is I1. So I1 gets put into f here, and we print it out and put a space after it. That's all we're doing here. So there we go. We got a Fibonacci sequence from 0 up to whatever the number below 20,000 is. So that's some interesting use of blocks. Just remember, this is a block structure, and actually we could rewrite that block structure to be something. I very quickly type it in here. That's the same syntax. Or, the same structure, just a little bit different syntax, and the priority is a touch different.